for my frozen bullet card.
And I think we've got two choices left: prison, education. Okay. You can get an education in prison. It's not the one you want. So if we want to get the education we want, we need to follow great people who have great ideas, who are not only talking about their ideas, but they're walking those ideas. They're living those ideas. Know that I am connected to this organization from the Ruta to the Tuta. And this is our first musical town hall. I hope you love the format. If you do, let everybody you know how much you love it, because we're going to take this all over the country. And hopefully, because if you believe in astrology, I'm a Leo, so I think very, very big. So we're going to take this all over the world, because we need to educate the world. And that's the best way we're going to learn to love each other more, because the minute you have an education, you develop understanding, and then you get to understand what's going on with everybody around you. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you so much for being here tonight.
Went out to Alaska. I couldn't believe it, because I was at this one, it's a very, very famous bar called the Elbow Room, and this one lady was getting really, really mad, and I couldn't understand why. That my relatives bombed the island. And I said, oh, no, 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 she has it all mixed up. Because it turns out that my mom went to the same camps, or similar camps, the Aleuts went to.
Okay.
And about an hour later, this lady came and apologized. Because not that many people really knew. Did you know that the Aleuts were actually put in camp during World War II?
Oh, yeah. Everybody got put in the camp.
Yeah, so each person that went to camp was actually given a number.
Right.
And so I went back and I found her number through the Topaz Museum.
Wow.
And from
how heavy is that?
And from that,
man,
I found out that my mom was actually entered into the camp in Utah.
How old was she?
She was 14.
Okay.
And that she went in approximately the same time that Anne Frank went into hiding.
Wow.
And Anne Frank was 2 years younger.
That's a rough age.
And then stayed in camp approximately the same time as
That's a rough age on a good day.
I know.
14.
And so the strange thing about it is I started thinking about it. I go, well, you know, I know more about Anne Frank, that period of her life, than about my mom.
Wow.
And so there's something wrong with it, you know. And so that's why I started thinking, well, maybe I can start really using this technology to kind of combine experiences with things that people can recall.
Right.
Because after it's gone, after my mom's gone, then this story, this message might disappear.
Yeah.
But if we can capture it quickly,
potent symbol for me to start talking about the evacuation. And this
why do you call it evacuation? It should be a term.
Okay, internment, okay. But we were evacuated mainly because we were of this heritage, Japanese heritage, all right? And not only that, this is a symbol for children, and I was a child. And so this has a very potent meaning in relationship to the internment process.
So back to the Bula cards themselves, I found that just in the short time I've been doing them, that I'm coming up with these fantastic stories. You know,
I'm sure.
Because Mr. Obama, we used to work together, and I work for you.
Right.
And so I thought, well, afterwards I just looked them up. Well, it turned out that Ted was actually a subject in a Pulitzer Prize winning photo.
Oh, wow.
Because when he was young, he was actually he was a young lawyer walking by a protest, and this person thought that he was one of the protesters, picked up an American flag and stabbed him. And at that point, they took a photo of it. Someone took a photo. Things
like literally ran him through?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he survived. He survived.
But I mean, he was in fact, his flesh was pierced?
Yeah, and he got beat up, you know.
Oh, God.
But because of it captured that moment, then it became this photo that was circulated throughout the world.
Is it on?
Yeah, you can go.
All right, how you doing, Mr. Obama? This is Michael Berry from Reagan High School once again. I think you saw my first video. Well, this is my second one. Just have a great time in office and more power to you to get reelected.
I think one of the reasons why I come up here, to Alaska and to other places, is to look for really desolate, pristine areas.
Yeah, my road manager today went on a fishing excursion with a private guide. 6:30 this morning he went, and he just said it was absolutely amazing. He said it was the best thing he's ever done in his life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he read about it in a brochure, and he said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And he doesn't even fish.
I was trying to think of, 3 words that I could come up with to kind of fit into a theme. And so one of them was really desolation, compassion, and then the last one is really revolution. And so I started thinking about, why revolution? Because in Texas and did bula cars.
Right.
And one of the persons there, Michael Berry, is having a really rough time. I'm not to go to school, and he liked this idea of really interactive art, music, and he started referring to me, and I don't think it's to me really, but it's just this idea of a revolution, of really, as you start mixing things together and you start really understanding the art, the music,
right? Yeah.
That might be your way to get out, and so that is the revolution. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the compassion part is, I think that really fits into more the mentoring. And I don't know, how do you teach someone compassion? Because with the oldest daughter, that would be the hardest thing.
I think the way you teach anybody anything is by example.
By example.
Yeah. I think that it has supposedly been what's the word I'm looking for? Proven through scientific studies that children in an environment learn mostly from what they see, but they also learn from what they hear. This is based upon the parent-child relationship, because many people say, I'm talking to my kid, it's going in one ear and out the other, but they have proven that it in fact does not. Ultimately, it does not. It does stick. But what really sticks the most is what they see, they see you do. So my mother always used to give a classic example. You sit in front of your child and you say, don't you ever tell a lie, and the phone rings and you say, go answer the phone and tell them I'm not home.
That's right.
So there's the dichotomy. So, but if you're, now obviously if you're walking the walk and talking the talk, what you're teaching becomes even more profound, because then it sticks on the cerebral level, it's, it sticks emotionally, it sticks spiritually. But I think ultimately, the best way to teach anybody anything is to live it and have them observe it, because then it resonates in a much deeper way. I know through my life I've always kind of watched people that I've admired, and at the end of the watching I've either decided I'm going to continue to watch them, or I'm going to continue to watch them to learn positiveness, or I'm going to continue to watch them to find out what I really don't want to ever do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's why the whole thing with me, sometimes I think it's ridiculous that some of the celebrities, some of the, let's say, NFL football players, that they are stuck in this thing about being a role model. And I think they're really not role models.
I think you have to be your own role model
so
first.
So the thing is, I was kind of going,
which is a full-time job.
So that's kind of where I got into, what do you think about the difference between, let's say, a role model and actually a soul model?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is.
Yeah,
how do you teach someone to learn about themselves?
Yeah.
And so if they constantly look at these these big celebrities or whatever, they're not going to learn.
I'm laughing because there was a D.L. Hughley, I was watching him the other night on TV, and he was doing a routine that was so funny that a few comics do variations on the theme. George Carlin used to do a variation on it. But in essence, they were talking about, I know from my generation, there was no such thing as a coffee table with a rounded edge. Maybe that's the name of a book. There was no such thing as a helmet when you get on a bicycle.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as oh honey, don't, oh no, You know, that, no. You, and particularly black parents, because they knew the world that their children were going to have to grow up in was not going to be kind to them. So you had to arm them with this toughness. And so, you know, he was describing a black parent, particularly a black mother, saying to her black child, go ahead, put your hand on the stove. You want to find out what happens? Go. I'm not going to tell you not to do anything. Do everything at least once. You'll figure it out for yourself if it's wrong. And you'll figure it out for yourself if it's right. You know, and there was a kind of mentality about raising children, people in general, that was about trial and error. And I don't know that it's particularly smart to remove that from the way that we take care of each other. Sometimes you just cannot explain stuff to people. They have to experience. Life is experiential. That's right. And we've gone through this like 2 generations of people saying, no, I don't want them to feel it like I felt it. Well, what good does that do you? You know, you have to feel stuff. And then you go, ooh, that burns. I don't do that anymore. Or maybe your circuitry is screwed up. You go, ooh, that burns. I like that. I want to burn myself again. You know, usually that's not how it goes down. So I don't know if we've become too safe in the way we deal with each other, because the world does not deal with you. The universe does not function on a safe level. It functions on a brilliant level that's about cause and effect. And if we take that out of the equation and we soften everything and we round all the corners and we put you in a helmet and we take care of your knees and you'll never get hurt, well, that is bullshit. You're going to get hurt at least 20 times a day, if you're lucky. Because that makes you feel, that makes you function, that makes you learn, that makes you see, that makes you adapt, that makes you adopt. If you don't do that, if you take all that out and make everything gentle and soft and sweet and lovely and terrific, the first time the monster comes around the corner, you're dead meat. First of all, my name is Patti Austin. If you don't have me sing at the White House before you leave, and the way you're going, it could be soon, you're going to be so sorry, because I've sung for every president in the White House since Reagan, and still not you. I'm tortured by that. That's one thing. Second thing, we're both Leos. My brother, I know how we function. Please, please, please be strong. Be brave, but most of all, be true. And I know all 3 of those things are virtually impossible for you, based upon the position you're in and the country we live in. But we need you to be that for all of us, in spite of what you think you have to do to make it into another term. I think it's more important that you go into your mode of saving this country from itself. And you have the power to do it.
Great.
Love you more than anybody you think loves you, including Michelle.
All right, thank you.